Chapter 925. The realm demon's fists were almost on Wilbur's head. Before they landed, the ground cracked. Cracks appeared along the entire hill, all the way down to the bottom of the hill. The spectators gasped in surprise. "I'll admit that you're strong, but compared to me, you're not even close," Styles roared at Wilbur, venting his endless rage and shock. At that moment, he had not even realized that he was a little terrified, because all of his fear had been overpowered by the powerful rage he was feeling. Then, the dragon's head behind Wilbur stopped reciting an incantation and shut its mouth. It then opened its eyes. Wilbur suddenly looked up and smiled at Styles. Styles was stunned and terrified. He barked, "I see you're still putting on an act even at the end of your life." Right at this moment, a huge arrow of light appeared right behind the realm demon. The arrow was a few meters long and sparkled brightly. It did not contain any spiritual energy or pressure. It looked like a hologram. When Styles saw the arrow, he was baffled. The Dimension Arrow. That was a spell that only existed in theory. According to legends, only 2 cultivators had cast the spell before. However, it was only heard of in legends. No one had ever seen it before. Theoretically speaking, a super sanctuary level cultivator would be able to cast this spell if mastered, but it was a complicated spell and needed a terrifying amount of spiritual energy to support it. Besides, the Dimension Arrow could not possibly be that big. Being able to cast a meter-long dimensional arrow was already at a human's limits. This was the conclusion that many cultivators came up with after countless research. It was also widely recognized. However, Wilbur's dimensional arrow was clearly longer and more powerful than it was supposed to be. Just when Styles was still stunned, the dimensional arrow vanished. The next second, it punctured through the realm demon's heart. The realm demon's fist stopped less than a meter above Wilbur's head. The force of the fists coming down had crumbled the rocks and boulders surrounding Wilbur to dust, rising in the air and enveloping Wilbur. The part of the body where the dimensional arrow punctured through the realm demon started to turn into tiny spots of light and started to dissipate. In a few seconds, the gigantic realm demon had vanished without leaving a trace. Seeing the realm demon disappearing before his eyes, Styles spat out a mouthful of blood. His legs turned to jelly, and he fell onto the ground. At that moment, he could not believe his eyes at all. He was utterly shocked. Trevor was actually also a super sanctuary level cultivator, and even stronger than him. He mastered such a terrifying spell like the Dimension Arrow. Even his own realm demon was no match for the Dimension Arrow. Styles was furious and indignant, but most of all helpless, overwhelmed by all the emotions. He finally lost it. He had already sacrificed a part of his life. At that moment, he instantly aged even more in just a matter of a few seconds. His hair turned white and started to drop strand by strand. His face wrinkled up. He lost a lot of weight instantly, looking like skin and bones. As the dust settled, Wilbur appeared. Using dragon speak and casting the dimensional arrow had depleted all of his spiritual energy. He was completely drained of spiritual energy, without leaving an ounce of it in him. When all of the spiritual energy dissipated after the battle, the top of the hill returned to normal.